October 9th, 2023. Mill Creek Forest, Oregon. Rain had just started to fall when 17-year-old Lily Hammond tripped over the backpack. She had been chasing her little brother's golden retriever, Max, who had darted off the hiking trail towards something in the underbrush. At first, she thought it was just an old log or maybe a discarded tent bag. But when she knelt down and brushed aside the leaves, a rotted leather strap snapped in her hand. That's when she saw it. Dark green, mold-streaked, partially unzipped. A backpack, and beneath it, something strange. Something wrapped in faded plaid flannel. Something hard. Lily's breath caught in her throat. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She just stared, heart pounding, as the rain soaked through her hoodie and dripped off the tips of her shaking fingers. Max barked again, louder this time. Inside the backpack was a rusted tin box. On top of it, folded like someone had tried to preserve it, was a crumbling Polaroid photo. The edges had curled, and the ink had started to run. But the faces were still there. A girl, maybe 15, maybe 16, wearing a flannel shirt and a nervous smile. Beside her, a boy with a wild mop of dark hair, holding up a peace sign. Lily gasped. She recognized the girl. Everyone in town did. It was Jamie Callahan, the girl who vanished in 1998. 25 years earlier, September 6, 1998. Jamie Callahan was last seen leaving East Willow High School after cheerleading practice. Her disappearance had torn through the small community of Greenridge like wildfire. Posters went up, search dogs combed the surrounding forests, volunteers swept the county in droves. Nothing. No leads. No suspects. Just a growing pile of theories and a cold trail that spanned decades. Her face had become a part of every Oregon missing person database, every local urban legend, every late-night bonfire tale. Her family never stopped looking. Her mother never stopped crying. Back in the present, Lily crouched over the open backpack, her thoughts spiraling. Why was this here? Why now? She snapped a photo of the Polaroid with her phone, zipped the tin box shut, and grabbed the backpack. She didn't realize she was crying until she tasted salt on her lips. By the time the police arrived, Lily and her parents were waiting at the ranger station at the forest's southern edge. The sky had gone completely gray, and her wet sneakers left prints on the wooden floor. Detective Erin Mallory arrived in an unmarked SUV just after dusk. She was in her late 40s, hair clipped into a no-nonsense bun, and wore the permanent scowl of someone who'd seen too much. When she saw the photo, she sat down without saying a word. Then she opened the tin box. Inside, a cracked leather journal, a bundle of dried, brittle flowers, an old cassette tape with a fading label that read, "If anything happens to me." Erin's voice was hoarse. No one's touched this since the day she vanished. The tape. The next morning, the forensics team carefully played the cassette in a secure room at the station. Jamie's voice crackled through the decades. "My name is Jamie Callahan. Today is August 29th, 1998. If you're hearing this, something has gone wrong. I don't know if I'm alive. I don't know if anyone's coming. But I want to tell the truth. Because no one else will." The room went dead silent. Even Erin had to steady her breath. "I was dating someone no one would approve of. He told me he had a secret, that he'd done something terrible, that people would get hurt if I told anyone." There was a long pause. "His name is..." The tape cut out. The handwriting was shaky, some of it smeared by water damage. But one passage stood out. "He said he'd bury it if I ever left. The tapes, the flowers, the photo. He said he'd make me disappear like the others." I thought he was bluffing, but then I saw the second grave. Second grave? Erin's eyes narrowed. She immediately had the surrounding area where the backpack was found cordoned off and searched. Within hours, ground-penetrating radar picked up a disturbance beneath the soil 3 feet deep, 8 feet wide. They uncovered a makeshift grave. Inside were human remains, partially mummified in the cold forest soil. Forensics confirmed. Female, approximately mid-teens, missing for at least 2 decades. But it wasn't Jamie. By that evening, the local news exploded. Cold case breakthrough. Remains found in Greenridge Forest may be linked to missing teen. Social media buzzed with theories. Was it a copycat killer? A serial predator no one knew existed? Or had Jamie left these clues on purpose, knowing someday someone like Lily might find them? Lily watched the news from the floor of her bedroom, knees hugged to her chest. She couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. The image of that photograph haunted her. She zoomed in, analyzing every pixel. And that's when she saw it. Something tucked just behind Jamie in the photo. Barely visible, but definitely there. A license plate, dusty, sun-faded, but legible under magnification. RGX 4192. Lily Googled it out of instinct. Nothing. DMV searches were blocked for public users. But when she told her dad, a retired state trooper, he froze. RGX 4192, he said slowly. That plate belonged to Jesus Christ. That belonged to Tom Pritchard. Tom Pritchard. He had been Jamie's chemistry teacher. Late 30s, quiet, well-liked, until rumors began swirling after her disappearance. Nothing concrete, no charges, but Erin remembered the name. He'd left town 2 months after the case went cold. Hadn't been seen since. No forwarding address, no credit activity, just gone. Erin's team traced the plate to a long-abandoned cabin 60 miles east, deep in the Cascades. It had been in Pritchard's name until he quietly sold it in 2003. Now, the address was listed as uninhabitable. Erin, Lily's father, and a team of deputies made their way there that night. The forest was darker than usual, colder, as if the earth itself knew what was about to surface. The cabin was rotten but still standing. Ivy strangled the walls. Windows were cracked like spiderwebs. The air reeked of mildew and forgotten secrets. But what they found in the basement would change the investigation forever. A second backpack, identical to the first, but inside it, a full set of Polaroids, each one showing a different girl, each one missing. October 10th, 2023, 11:47 p.m. Pritchard cabin basement, East Cascade Range. Detective Erin Mallory held her breath as she carefully pulled the second backpack from the cracked concrete floor. It was half buried beneath a mildewed tarp and layers of old insulation, like someone had tried to entomb it. But whoever had done it hadn't planned for time or guilt. The bag was a mirror image of the one Lily had found, down to the faded army green and rusted zippers. And inside, Polaroids, dozens of them, tucked into a brown envelope labeled, "Don't let them forget." Each photo showed a different girl, some smiling, some terrified, most wearing the same plaid flannel Jamie Callahan had on in her photo. "My God," Erin muttered, spreading them out on the warped table. "This isn't just about Jamie. This is bigger, much bigger." Back at Greenridge PD, by morning, the photos had been digitized and run through missing persons databases. 17 matches, all teens, all gone between 1993 and 2001, all from surrounding counties. Most were long cold cases. A few had never even made the news. One photo had a name written on the back in faint pencil. Celeste, April 95, said she was going to tell. The youngest victim? 13. Lily's discovery. At home, Lily couldn't shake the image of Jamie's eyes in that photo. Something in them, fear mixed with knowing. Like she had seen what no one else was supposed to. Like she had already accepted what was coming. She opened the high-resolution scan of the tape's label again. The words, "If anything happens to me," had been scribbled on what looked like the back of a receipt. Zooming in, Lily noticed numbers printed underneath. 729-849, 8:27 p.m., Trail Mart Gas. And next to it, barely legible, kerosene, matches, flashlight. Lily's pulse quickened. Trail Mart still existed. She passed it on her way to school. She printed the image and biked there immediately. Trail Mart, October 11th, 2023. The attendant, an older man named Ron, stared at the printout and squinted. "That's one of our receipts, all right? Back when we had those old registers." We only keep the tapes for 30 days now, but back then... Ha! 729849. That's an old register ID. He vanished into the back office for 10 minutes and returned with a beat-up logbook. It's a long shot, but here, this was our handwritten override log. Back in 1998, we had to manually record flagged transactions. He pointed to the date, August 29, 1998. A flagged purchase. Name used, Thomas Pritchard. And in the margin, another note. Declined card. Paid cash. Told clerk he needed supplies for camping trip with niece. Detective Erin immediately reopened the original case file on Thomas Pritchard. It was thin, just a few interviews, a single search of his home, which turned up nothing, and a resignation letter he had left after Jamie's disappearance. But this new evidence changed everything. Erin requested a warrant to dig into Pritchard's old financials. She pulled staff yearbooks, scanned newspaper archives, looked for patterns. That's when she found something that sent a chill down her spine. Pritchard had been on sick leave the week each of the 17 missing girls had vanished. Every single time. While cataloging evidence from the second backpack, the tech team found something wedged between the lining. A small silver ring. Inscribed inside, JC, to see, forever. Jamie Callahan to Celeste? Was Celeste a girlfriend? A friend? Another victim? Erin looked back at the Polaroid labeled Celeste. In it, the girl is smiling, but her left hand is lifted slightly. She's wearing the ring. Jamie had given it to her, and now it had returned to them. Erin revisited Jamie's damaged journal, now restored and scanned for legibility. Most of the entries were short and cautious, likely written under surveillance. But one passage stood out, previously overlooked because of smudging. Under forensic light, it became readable. He took her. Celeste. Said she reminded him of his sister. Said she saw too much. I heard her screaming. I couldn't move. I just froze. Another. He built a place. Said it was where he kept his special girls. Said if I ever told anyone, I'd go there too. But I know where it is. I know how to find it. He built a place. Inside the second backpack, behind a cardboard insert, was a torn piece of topographic map. A section of the Ridgevale forest with a red X marked just off a dirt trail known locally as Dead Mule Bend. An old logging road, abandoned for years. The coordinates didn't match the cabin. This was something else. Something hidden. The search begins. With a full team, drones, cadaver dogs, and ground radar, law enforcement swept the area near the marked coordinates. They almost missed it. Tucked into a crag between two collapsed trees, camouflaged by brush, was a steel door set into the earth. Rusted, locked, and above it, the faint, peeling remains of an old Forest Service logo. Not a cabin, a bunker. The hatch took 2 hours to cut through the lock. The air inside was cold, damp, unmoving. The smell was overpowering. And the hallway, concrete walls lined with decayed insulation, led to a series of sealed rooms. What they found inside stopped even the most seasoned officers in their tracks. Tattered mattresses, rusted chains, a wall covered in scratch tally marks, and taped to a cork board, another Polaroid, fresh, recent, and not aged like the others. A girl with strawberry blonde hair, tear-streaked cheeks. Timestamp, October 6, 2023. For days ago, the girl wasn't Jamie, wasn't Celeste, wasn't any of the original victims. She was new, and still missing. October 11, 2023. 9:43 p.m. Ridgevale Forest Bunker. The photo was too fresh to be coincidence. Detective Erin Mallory stared at the timestamp again. October 6, 2023. Just 5 days ago, the girl in the Polaroid had tear-streaked cheeks and a fresh bruise beneath her left eye. She sat against a peeling green wall, wrists bound in front of her, mouth taped. She couldn't be older than 15. Who was she? And more urgently, where was she now? The rescue clock starts. Erin's team quickly sealed the site and called in every available unit. They ran facial recognition on the photo, and within the hour, match found. Hannah Rivers, age 14. She'd gone missing 3 days prior after leaving a school track meet in the town of Gray Pines, 80 miles away. The case had barely made the local news, runaway suspicions, no known abduction. Now, it was something else entirely. "He's back," Erin said flatly. "Or someone is continuing what he started." Tom Pritchard, long believed dead or disappeared, had never been found. But if this girl was taken less than a week ago, someone had the keys to his nightmare and knew exactly how to use them. The evidence room. Deeper in the bunker, officers discovered a side chamber behind a false wall. Inside, a reel-to-reel recorder, dozens of tapes labeled only by year, a journal with entries dating back to 1992, and a set of keys marked with hand-etched symbols. One of the tapes was labeled J. Final. Erin had it played on site. The voice returns. "If anyone finds this, please tell my mom I never stopped fighting." Jamie's voice crackled across the decades. "I'm leaving everything I can. I've hidden the second map. He doesn't know I copied it. If you find the place, you'll find them all. You'll find the truth." She paused. "Celeste's not the only one." He lied. There were others. Some he said he let go. "I don't believe him. I don't think they ever made it out." Another pause. "He says I'm special. That I was the first who didn't scream." "I screamed." Erin swallowed hard. Jamie had known what she was doing. She wasn't just a victim. She was leaving breadcrumbs. The second map. Jamie's journal mentioned a second map. The first had led them here to the bunker. But where did the second one lead? That night, Lily, who had become obsessed with Jamie's story, went through the digitized copies of the journal on her laptop. One detail jumped out. "The place with the bell doesn't ring anymore. But it used to. It watched over us. I buried it at its feet." Lily Googled bell towers in the Greenridge area. Only one result came up: Old St. Helena Chapel. A fire-damaged structure from the 1970s that had been partially demolished but still stood as a historical relic. Its bell tower had collapsed in 2002. October 12, 2023, the chapel site. A ground team with cadaver dogs swept the chapel ruins. Near the fallen bell, they found disturbed soil, and buried beneath it, a waterproof map tube. Inside, a hand-sketched overlay of the local logging trails and underground rail tunnels. One location was circled in red. A service hatch beneath an old water treatment plant built in 1961. The words beside it: "If he's alive, this is where he'll take them." The manhunt. By noon, FBI units, state troopers, and local police converged on the abandoned treatment plant. The building was condemned in 2014, sealed off from the public, except for the fact that the service hatch was freshly unlocked and slightly ajar. Inside, the plant reeked of rot and mold. Pipes groaned in the walls. Water pooled at every corner. The corridors led down to a wide maintenance chamber, where they found the remains of a cot, a food cache, and chains bolted to the wall. Blood and hair samples. No Hannah, but they were close. Too close. Then came the message. At 3:18 p.m., the Greenridge Police Department received a call from a blocked number. A man's voice, distorted. "You don't deserve to find her. Not after what you did to me." Erin took the call. "Where is she? You took my life, my job, my home. You turned me into a ghost. Now I'll make her one." Pritchard. A pause. "She's special, just like Jamie. She didn't scream either." Click. They were now in a full-blown race against time. A 25-year-old cold case had burst into the present. The twist. Later that night, Lily, still poring over every clue she had, zoomed in on one of the Polaroids again. She noticed something strange in the background. A sticker on a metal locker. Part of it read, "Property of Ridge Hollow Academy, Archive Wing." It hit her like lightning. The Ridge Hollow Academy had closed in 2006. Pritchard had taught summer chemistry there for a year before resigning. Could he be hiding there? Erin didn't wait. She deployed a drone team and a SWAT unit. They reached the school by dawn. They breached the main building. It was dusty, decaying, desks overturned, locker doors rusted shut. Nothing, no sounds, Then, from the sub-basement, a scream. They followed it, down 2 levels, through a locked boiler room, and then a mirror propped against the wall, just like in the tapes. Behind it, a false panel. Erin pried it loose with her crowbar. Behind it, a narrow tunnel just wide enough to crawl. And at the end of the tunnel, a door, and the sound of someone crying. Erin reached for the handle, but just as she touched it, a voice behind her whispered, "You shouldn't have come here alone." October 13th, 2023, Ridge Hollow Academy basement. Detective Erin Mallory froze. The whisper echoed off the concrete walls like a ghost. "You shouldn't have come here alone." She spun around, weapon drawn. But the hallway behind her was empty, just darkness and the steady drip of water from a broken pipe. Still, the air felt wrong. Too still, too heavy. And then she heard it again. A girl crying. Faint, muffled, behind the door at the end of the narrow crawl space. Erin steadied her breath, pushed aside the whisper, and moved forward. The hidden room. The steel door creaked open, revealing a small room dimly lit by a single lantern. The air smelled of mildew and something else, something sour and old. Hannah Rivers sat in the corner, arms bound, lips trembling, eyes wide with panic. Erin rushed to her side. Hey, it's okay. I'm here. You're safe now." As Erin untied her, Hannah pointed to the corner. Her mouth formed a single word. "Trap." Too late. The door slammed shut, and the lights went out. The return of the ghost. A voice crackled through a speaker in the ceiling. Deeper now, older, but unmistakable. "Thomas Pritchard. They always come alone," he said calmly. "Just like I planned. Just like she said they would." Erin scanned the dark, holding Hannah tight. "Why Tom? Why the girls?" "Because the world forgot me, but they didn't. They needed someone to teach them obedience." His voice turned bitter, unhinged. "Jamie said she'd bring them back. She said someone would come. She kept her promise." Back upstairs. Meanwhile, the SWAT team outside had lost contact with Erin. Lily, now at the scene with Erin's lieutenant, begged to be let in. She showed the team the maps, the audio tapes, Jamie's clues. One SWAT officer hesitated. "She knew him better than we do." The lieutenant nodded. "Let her help." They breached the second sub-basement and discovered the hidden mirror panel. But the tunnel had collapsed. Someone had detonated a small explosive charge. Erin was trapped. Time was running out. Inside the room, with only a penlight, Erin examined the walls. There was something etched beneath the peeling paint, writing, a message. "If you made it here, I knew you'd come alone. But I also knew you'd be ready." Signed, Jamie. Erin peeled away the plaster. Behind it, duct taped to the wall, was a flare gun and a switch box. Jamie had planned this escape decades ago. The switch. Erin clicked the switch. In the hallway outside the hidden room, a sealed exit chute dropped open behind a panel. A secondary way out. Meanwhile, the speaker crackled again. "You'll die down there, detective." Erin smirked. "Not today." She loaded the flare gun and shot it at the ceiling panel. It ignited a fuse Jamie had rigged, one the team above was already watching for. A red glow flashed up through the shaft. They had a signal. The extraction. SWAT used a breaching ram to knock open the chute from above. They reached Erin and Hannah minutes later. The moment Erin stepped out, covered in soot, Hannah in her arms, the crowd outside the school erupted. Lily rushed forward and hugged her. Erin just whispered. She planned all of it. Jamie saved them all. Back at the bunker, cadaver dogs uncovered a hidden panel beneath one of the walls. A crawl space leading to a sealed chamber. Inside, 7 more Polaroids, marked safe. Birth certificates. A notebook titled Escapees. And a lockbox with 11 silver rings, all inscribed. Jamie had helped girls escape. Not all of them were killed. Some she let out. The world thought she was a victim, but she had been a resistance from within. In the final tape marked End, Jamie's voice was calm, peaceful. "If you found this, then it worked. I didn't know who you'd be, but I believed in you." They'll try to forget what happened here. They'll try to bury the truth. But you can't let them. You can't let him win. Pause. I wasn't the girl who vanished. I was the girl who stayed, who fought. And if this saves just one more, then it was worth it. 6 weeks later, memorial in Greenridge. The town gathered to honor the 18 known victims, and the unknown others still being identified. A plaque was unveiled in Mill Creek Forest, where it all began. To the girls who were taken, to the ones who were saved, to the one who refused to disappear. Underneath, in memory of Jamie Callahan. 1982, 1998, Erin sat with Lily at the edge of the woods. Lily held the original Polaroid, the one she found with the backpack. They had digitally restored it, printed it in color. Jamie stood in it, smiling now, like she knew somehow that her plan would work, that 25 years later someone would listen, someone would care, and someone would finish the story she started.
Hope you like the story. This is Zen Stories, where stories come to life. Unfiltered, unforgettable, and full of raw emotion. Each video dives deep into mysterious events, vanishing acts, shocking discoveries, and stories that will keep you hooked until the final twist. Like, subscribe and share for daily uploads that will move you, shock you, and stay with you long after the screen fades to black. See you tomorrow.